Every man hears the same lie his entire life. Just be yourself. Be honest, be available. And every man who follows it ends up in the same place, confused, replaced and wondering how she lost interest overnight. Think about her, the way she looked at you in the beginning, the way she slowly stopped caring. The moment you realized you were explaining yourself, while another man was doing nothing and winning. That wasn't bad luck. That wasn't timing. That was psychology working against you. Here's the truth no one warns men about. Women don't respond to effort the way men think they do. They respond to power dynamics, to silence, to distance, to the fear, quiet, subtle, unspoken, that you are not theirs to control. And the moment you made yourself emotionally safe, predictable, always available, you stopped being dangerous. And when danger disappears, desire follows. This video exists for one reason: to expose the 5 rules that flip attraction on its head. Rules so effective that women sense them, but never say them out loud. Rules that turn interest into obsession, curiosity into pursuit, comfort into craving. You've seen the result before. The man she can't stop thinking about. The man she texts after midnight. The man she says she's over, while still stalking his profile months later. He didn't beg. He didn't chase. He didn't explain himself. And if this is making you uncomfortable, good. That means it's touching something real. Because deep down you already know which man you were, and which man she chose instead. Before you continue, I want you to do one thing. Comment the exact sentence your ex said right before everything changed. The moment you felt her pull away. No context, just the words. Then subscribe, because once you understand these rules, you'll never play the same game again. And women will feel it before you say a single word. This isn't about tricks. This isn't about manipulation. This is about reclaiming the power you handed away without realizing it. Watch carefully. Because after this, you won't be the man women walk away from. Rule 1, the scarcity rule. Scarcity is not a trick. It's a law of attraction that the most successful men in history have always understood. In cities like London, New York, and Sydney, women are constantly surrounded by men who are always there, available at a moment's notice, endlessly responding to texts, always trying to impress, always orbiting their emotional sun. And in that constant presence, men lose power. They lose attraction. They become invisible. Take Michael, a 34-year-old banker in London. He was constantly available to Sarah, a woman he had been dating casually for a few months. Every time she texted, he responded instantly. Every time she hinted at wanting to meet, he cleared his schedule. At first, she was attentive, flirty, excited. But after a few weeks, her enthusiasm faded. She stopped initiating conversations, started canceling plans, and eventually drifted away. Why? Michael had no scarcity. He was everywhere she wanted him to be, and as a result, he became predictable, accessible, and ultimately, unremarkable. Scarcity works because humans, especially women, value what they cannot have easily. When a man's time, attention, and energy are not instantly available, he gains perceived value. She begins to notice the parts of her life where he is absent. She imagines his life, and suddenly, he occupies her mind in a way he never did when he was always present. It's subtle. She doesn't consciously realize it. She just feels drawn. Women in cities like New York or Los Angeles subconsciously equate scarcity with significance. If a man is fully invested in his own mission, hobbies, and life, he signals high status, independence, and self-reliance, the traits women are wired to respond to. Scarcity isn't about ignoring her or being cruel. It's about living your life on your own terms. It's about demonstrating that your presence is valuable and that you are not a man to be taken for granted. The moment she feels she has to earn your attention, she begins to invest in you emotionally, mentally, and even physically. The men she obsesses over aren't the ones who give her everything freely. They're the ones who create a sense of absence, challenge, and tension. When a woman in Toronto or London feels she cannot fully predict a man's attention, she starts overanalyzing, thinking, wondering, and ultimately wanting. Scarcity transforms a man from someone who chases, pleads, and seeks validation into someone who commands attention by simply living fully. The more unpredictable and valuable your time, the more she will chase you. Rule 2, the silence rule. Silence is a weapon that few men truly master. In the age of constant communication, texting, social media, and instant messaging, most men overexpose themselves. They feel the need to explain, justify, and reassure. They respond to every provocation, emotional shift, or test, and in doing so, They give away their power. But the Machiavellian man understands. Silence is not weakness, it is control. It's the presence that speaks louder than words, the tension that keeps her mind engaged, and the invisible gravity that pulls her toward you without effort. Consider James, a 38-year-old entrepreneur in Sydney. He had been dating Emma for 6 weeks. Emma was testing him constantly. Small comments, hints, emotional shifts, all designed to provoke a reaction. Most men would panic, text back immediately, apologize, or try to explain themselves. Not James. He didn't ignore her in a petty way. He didn't withdraw for attention. He simply observed, remained calm, and replied only when necessary. Within a week, Emma began thinking about him obsessively. She replayed their conversations, analyzed every word, and began initiating contact herself, desperate to regain the connection she thought she was losing. Silence works because women's minds are naturally investigative. When a man reacts emotionally or fills every gap with words, she loses curiosity. When a man allows a pause, a moment of absence or delayed response, she begins to project her thoughts onto him. She wonders what he is doing, why he isn't responding, and whether he is thinking about her. This mental engagement is far more powerful than any text message, call, or gift. In London or Los Angeles, women subconsciously associate a man who speaks less but observes more with strength, stability, and higher value. Silence creates mystery. It forces her to invest attention without realizing it. A man who maintains silence under emotional pressure communicates, "I'm in control of myself. I do not need your validation." But silence must be deliberate. Empty silence, avoidance, or coldness breeds indifference, not attraction. A Machiavellian man maintains presence through calm observation. He doesn't react to tests. He doesn't over-explain. He lets the psychological weight of his absence and composure create desire. The silence rule flips the power dynamic. While she anxiously overthinks her interactions with you, you remain grounded, confident, and unattainable in the most magnetic way possible. Women may not consciously understand why they are drawn to you, but they feel the pull, the intrigue, and the fascination that only calculated silence can produce. A man who masters silence no longer chases. He doesn't beg. He doesn't collapse under pressure. He simply exists with measured presence, and women, whether in New York, Toronto, or London, are magnetically drawn to that power. Rule 3, the emotional distance rule. Emotional distance is one of the most misunderstood yet powerful tools a man can wield. Too many men fall into the trap of emotional dependency. They believe that sharing every thought, confessing every feeling, and validating her emotions constantly will make a woman fall deeper in love. But in reality, this is the fastest route to losing attraction. Take Daniel, a 36-year-old graphic designer in Manchester. He had been dating Lucy for 3 months. Daniel loved to text her first thing in the morning, respond instantly to her messages, and constantly assure her that he cared. At first, Lucy seemed happy, even flirty. But over time, she grew bored. The intensity of Daniel's availability removed challenge, removed curiosity, and ultimately removed desire. Emotional distance doesn't mean being cold or detached. It means being self-contained, self-reliant, and grounded. It means living your life fully and allowing a woman to invest into you, rather than exhausting yourself chasing her approval. In cities like London or Sydney, women are surrounded by men who collapse emotionally at the slightest hint of resistance. They overshare their feelings, apologize excessively, and bend their emotional state to match hers. This is predictable, and predictability kills desire. A man who maintains emotional distance creates a magnetic polarity. He is not needy, not desperate, not easily swayed by mood swings. He allows her to show interest first. He allows her to prove herself. She feels a challenge. She feels curiosity. She feels desire. Emotional distance also protects a man from manipulation. Women instinctively test men for stability. When a man loses his composure under testing, he signals weakness. But when he maintains control, he signals strength, dominance, and high value. Take a woman in Toronto or Los Angeles. She will naturally be more invested in a man who doesn't collapse emotionally. When she withdraws affection, she will chase him, wonder about him, and feel compelled to earn his attention. Emotional distance is the backbone of mystery, attraction, and respect. A Machiavellian man understands this fully. He is emotionally present when necessary, but emotionally independent always. He is warm but not desperate. He listens but does not validate blindly. He responds but does not collapse. This balance keeps women intrigued, keeps attraction alive, and ensures that she remains mentally and emotionally invested. Rule 4, the power shift rule. Most men misunderstand power in attraction and relationships. They believe power is about controlling her actions, her choices, or her emotions. They think they are strong because they are giving, adapting, or bending to her desires. This is the opposite of true power. Power is about controlling your own reactions. It's about remaining unshakable, composed, and deliberate no matter what she does. It's about establishing a psychological hierarchy where she invests energy to gain your attention, not the other way around. Consider Oliver, a 40-year-old entrepreneur in London. He was dating Charlotte, a smart, independent woman. Charlotte often tested him, subtle jabs, emotional provocations, even silent treatments. Most men in Oliver's position would react emotionally, argue, or over-explain. Oliver did not. He responded calmly, maintained his life priorities, and never begged for reassurance. The effect was profound. Charlotte became more attentive, more invested, and even more obsessed with maintaining connection with him. The power shift works because women are instinctively attracted to men who do not surrender control of their inner state. When a man gives away his emotional power, he becomes vulnerable, predictable, and ultimately replaceable. When a man maintains power over his own emotions, decisions, and priorities, women unconsciously recognize his strength and become drawn to it. In cities like New York, Sydney, or Manchester, this principle is especially critical. Women experience a constant stream of men attempting to prove worth, seeking approval, or reacting emotionally. A man who shifts the power by remaining neutral, composed, and deliberately unattainable immediately stands out. Power isn't expressed through words, it's expressed through behavior. He doesn't argue when she tests him. He doesn't chase when she pulls away. He doesn't beg when she questions his feelings. He simply demonstrates stability, confidence, and presence. And the psychological effect is devastating. She starts to chase, to prove herself, and to invest more than she ever intended. Unconsciously, women are wired to respond to power. The moment a man shifts it back to himself, rather than letting her dictate the emotional landscape, he becomes the anchor, the mystery, and the prize she can't stop thinking about. The power shift also protects a man from heartbreak and manipulation. When he understands that control lies within himself, he no longer gives away his emotional state for validation or temporary affection. He remains grounded, stoic, and in charge of his life. And paradoxically, this is the very behavior that drives women wild, making them chase the stability and calm they cannot create in themselves. In essence, the power shift is a Machiavellian principle. It flips the dynamic. Instead of a man reacting to a woman's whims, she reacts to him. Instead of chasing, she chases. Instead of needing, she provides. A man who masters this rule does not need to be aggressive or domineering. He simply stands firm in his self-mastery, allowing women to reveal their interest and investment voluntarily. And when they do, the attraction becomes undeniable, obsessive, and relentless. Rule 5, the scarcity illusion rule. Scarcity is the final weapon most men never understand. They think attraction grows through availability, through constant presence, through always being there. But scarcity is not absence. Scarcity is selective access. And psychologically, it is devastating. Men who are always available feel safe, but safety does not create desire. Scarcity creates value. Always has. Always will. Look at James, a 42-year-old consultant living in London. Successful, disciplined, quiet confidence. He wasn't loud. He didn't chase. He didn't explain himself endlessly. He had a full life. Gym mornings in Canary Wharf. Late nights closing deals, weekends traveling. When he dated Emma, he never flooded her with attention. He showed up fully when he chose to, but then he disappeared back into his world. Emma noticed something unsettling. She couldn't predict him. She couldn't access him whenever she wanted. And that uncertainty began to live in her head rent-free. Scarcity works because the human mind obsesses over what it cannot fully possess. Women are no exception. In cities like New York, Sydney, or Toronto, women are surrounded by men who are over-available, men who reply instantly, men who cancel their plans, men who rearrange their lives for a woman they barely know. These men think they're showing interest. In reality, they're broadcasting low value. A Machiavellian man does the opposite. He is not rude. He is not cold. He is simply not endlessly accessible. His time has weight. His attention has cost. and that alone elevates him above 90% of men. Scarcity triggers anxiety, but not fear. It triggers curiosity. It forces her to wonder, what is he doing? Who else wants him? Why isn't he chasing me like the others? And once that thought forms, the game is already over. Consider Olivia in Manchester. She dated men who were always there, texting, calling, validating. She felt bored within weeks. Then she met Ryan. Ryan answered messages calmly, sometimes hours later. He didn't over-explain. He didn't ask for reassurance. He didn't fill silence with desperation. And suddenly, Olivia found herself checking her phone constantly. Scarcity flipped the dynamic. She became the one waiting, the one wondering, the one investing emotionally. Scarcity also protects a man from emotional exploitation. Women instinctively test boundaries. When a man is always available, she learns she can pull him closer any time. When he isn't, she learns she must earn access. This is not manipulation. This is psychological law. The moment a woman believes she has unlimited access to a man, his value collapses in her mind. The moment access becomes conditional, selective and earned, attraction intensifies. A Stoic man understands this deeply. He does not explain why he's busy. He does not justify his absence. He simply lives his life with purpose, and purpose creates distance. Distance creates mystery. Mystery creates desire. Scarcity also reshapes how a woman behaves. She becomes more agreeable, more attentive, more invested, not because she's weak, but because uncertainty activates her emotional drive. She starts proving herself without realizing it. That's the illusion. She believes she's choosing freely, while unconsciously chasing what feels rare. A Machiavellian man never announces his scarcity. He never says, "I'm busy." He never pretends to be important. He simply is. His life speaks for him. His absence speaks louder than words. And when he shows up, he's fully present, calm, grounded, unrushed. That contrast is lethal. Scarcity is not about disappearing forever. It's about never being predictable, never being fully owned, never allowing a woman to feel she has conquered you emotionally. Once she feels she has you completely, desire fades. But when she feels she could lose you, when access feels fragile, desire sharpens into obsession. This rule completes the system. Emotional distance keeps you grounded. Power shift keeps you unshaken. Scarcity illusion makes you unforgettable. A man who masters this rule doesn't beg, chase, or plead. He lets women reveal themselves through their pursuit. And the ones who stay because they choose to, not because he clung to them. Conclusion. These 5 rules are not tricks. They are psychological laws. Scarcity, silence, emotional distance, power, unpredictability, master them, and you become the man no woman can ignore. Women chase men who are self-controlled, mysterious and scarce, not men who chase them. A Machiavellian man understands female psychology. He doesn't need to plead, explain, or justify. He becomes the prize, the anchor, the mystery she cannot escape. Master these rules and watch her obsession grow. She will beg for your attention, crave your presence, and regret ever doubting you. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.